Dizzy. What the heck is going on? So, I'm back, and I figured today would be a perfect day to do a bit of a care video. So, for those of you who are new to the channel, thank you for joining us. My name is Riley Jimison, and this is whatever the heck it is. I don't know. A vlog, I guess. But as you can see, I shaved the beard. We hit 5,000 Instagram followers, and so I did a monkey tail and just left that. And then I had that for a day and then shaved it off because, you know, it's only fun for a moment. But anyway, that's why I look creepy and weird. But yeah, today I figured I would finally put together a much requested video, and that is the care video for Brazilian Rainbow Boas and how I keep them. So let's do this. So here's a quick look at how I house some of my adults. Not too crazy, and pretty basic setup. Water bowl, hide, some moss, particulate bedding for humidity retention, stuff they can burrow in. They're definitely due for a change, but I usually do that twice a year, so it'll have to wait. And especially for her, I'm going to wait until after her litter drops in July. But these are how I keep my adults. These are 3-foot vision cages. The female could definitely do with more space, but she's not particularly active. At night they are. The male makes this look nice and spacious. So why don't we take them out and we'll take a look at least the male. I'll try and get her out. She is gravid. She's a month in, so I don't want to mess with her too much. And then I can show you some of the offspring that I've had over the years. So this is my big male, Crimson. He's a Picasso line animal produced by Dave Calling. And this guy's kind of a blood tomato, orangish red color. And one thing you'll learn pretty quickly with rainbows is they're very strong snakes. This dude's got quite a grip on my hand. He's just very unsure of what's going on because these guys are rather nocturnal. They're not used to being out during the day, so this is kind of unusual for him. But I typically keep these guys with a hot spot around 83, 84 degrees and let that drop down to about 78, 79 at night. And I try to just keep the humidity up. With babies, you really want to make sure you see condensation on the walls of their tubs. Really make sure they don't desiccate. These animals do have rather thin layers of skin, and when babies are pretty young and freshly born, they can desiccate or dry out very easily. So high humidity is crucial for maintaining these as babies. As adults, you can let it slide a little bit, but they still do need it, and the best way you can tell when you're slacking is if they're having bad sheds. Now, if you have big animals, sometimes they just have, you know, partial sheds because the skin just tears. But yeah, they don't like a lot of heat. Keep it in the low 80s on the warm end at most. And don't let it get too cold either. I do cycle them when it comes to their breeding season, but I only drop their heat down to about 75 degrees. So I don't go too low with them. They're a very equatorial species, meaning that where they're at in the rainforest in South America, in Brazil, Peru, it doesn't fluctuate too much temperature-wise, so they don't need too much of a cycle, but you can definitely do some food cycling with them. So, there he is. If you're into these snakes because you've been told they're a very naturally beautiful animal, well, you're correct. They are. So, this is my largest male, and the dad to all of my litters thus far. Alright, so this is my big and currently gravid female. This is Nectar. You can probably guess why I named her that. But she's an absolute monster! Now, I've read accounts of them being imported in at these sizes. She's over 6 feet. And she was even bigger when I got her. She was fat and overfed. She was being fed live jumbo rats, which is just way too much for an animal like this. But she did just fine, and she's massive. This girl produces some of the biggest litters I've ever heard of for the species. Her first litter for me was 34 live babies. Yee. And one stillborn. She's not 100% trustworthy. She hasn't bit me in a long time, but these things are shy snakes. They don't like being out much during the day. You can certainly acclimate them to handling, and she's not upset by any means, but I won't be keeping her out very long. She's a month into her gestation, so she has some little baby rainbows in her, so I'm going to let her go back about her business. But man, she is something else. And I've had this girl for about maybe 6 or so years, and this will be her third litter for me. So I'm very excited about that. Now, the first time I produced the pair of these animals that I just showed you the parents was in 2016. And then the second year, in 2018, I produced 22 babies from that pair. And then this year, we'll see what the numbers are. So the first year in 2016, I ended up keeping 2 pairs of them and then selling off 2.1 of them. So the two boys that I kept, I sold, and then one of the females, because I didn't have a lot of space at the time and I needed some money. So I sold those and kept one of those females. So let's take a look. So as you can see, this girl is not quite as orange as mom is. She's got a lot more of these red tones from dad. Great solid blacks. Unfortunately, I don't know if you're going to be able to catch the iridescence that these animals are known and named for, that rainbow iridescence. But this is Ursula. This is a female from 2016 that I kept, so she's turning 4 years old this year. And I have not bred her, and I don't plan to yet. I want to give her another year. She is mature. She did show me that she's physically capable of cycling, which she did this year. She did give me that quintessential body position at the right time that showed me that she had some follicular development going on from the seasonal feeding and cycle feeding and, you know, temperature swings and whatnot. So she is physically capable of breeding, but I want some more size and a little bit more age to her. There's no sense breeding them while they're young, and rainbow boas, when they produce pretty good sized litters, it does take a lot out of them. So this is her. Again, very shy, likes to hide in the mulch, in her bedding, stay nice and humid, and otherwise kind of be left to her own deal. So, but this is her. I don't know how well this is showing up on here, but I'm doing my best. So, and I'll try and throw some photos of these animals that I've taken throughout, or maybe at the end, and just see what comes out. So anyway, so this is one of the remaining 2016 animals that I held back. Now let's take a look at a couple of the 2018 babies. Alright, so this is Carrot Top. And this is a male that I kept from 2018. Initially kept 2.3. And now I've got 1.2 from that litter. I sold off a pair to a friend. But this dude is just screaming orange, has tons of solid black to him, and just absolutely some of the best eye crescents on the sides, with crazy oranges in there, just unreal. So that's why he's Carrot Top, because he's got orange done. Like, he is orange, owns it. So he's got a lot of mom's color, but dad's richness, just amazing. So that's Carrot Top. Alright, now this is Pebbles. Let's see if we can get some better light going on right here. Woo! There you go. So this is a 2018 female that I kept. She's really starting to show her color and come into it these days. They change a lot as they grow. They start out kind of grayish purple and reds, sometimes light pinks, and then they change a ton after their first couple sheds. And all of these 2018 babies I'm keeping right now in 32 quart tubs with a mixture of like the Freedom Breeder coconut husk blocks mixed with some cypress mulch. And I do that because these animals really like to hunker down and burrow under that substrate when they're young. They're pretty small and defensive little babies, so they like to hide out in that mulch and keep that moisture for their thin skin. So you do that, throw some moss in there, keep a fresh bowl of water. And the way I kind of monitor the humidity, I don't actually have a humidity gauge in there, is I just look to make sure that there's sort of an overall dampness to the bedding, there's water, and then some condensation on the walls. I don't really focus on trying to aim for a certain percentage of humidity or anything like that. I don't measure it digitally, really. I just kind of use my intuition and feel it out and pay attention to what they're telling me. If they're shedding well and eating well and their scales look healthy, they don't look crinkled and dried out or dimpled in or anything like that, and they're eating well, yeah, I mean that's all you can ask for, really. So they sort of tell you. All right, let's take a look at one more. All right, this is my baby girl Ember with an E. Look at that fire snake. There's some folks out there that really love orange. Miguel, I'm talking to you. There's a lot of people that like orange out there, I know. But, dude, just look at this thing. Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. It's just nuts. There you go. Here, why don't I just put the light over here? Much easier. Much easier. So yeah, this is another one of my 2018 females. Ember. Beautiful snake. They're very shy. They do this a lot. For the first couple months as babies, they bite the snot out of you, and then they learn to just kind of wait and see, and then they bite the snot out of you, and then they slowly start waiting more, and you build trust, and you handle them, and eventually they'll learn. But they are very, very shy snakes, especially as babies. So most people see them, and they're like, I want a naturally beautiful snake. You definitely chose well visually, but they are an intermediate level of care, and you need to understand that you're probably going to get tagged with some baby handling along the way. But just unreal, unreal snakes. Look at that. Oof. So, should have another litter of these this year. And I typically don't like doing lists, but it's the only way I can keep track of who's asking and who to hit up and this and that. So, due July. So if you think you can care for a Brazilian Rainbow Boa, keep that humidity up, don't overheat them, give them that, humid tropical environment. You can really do well with these animals. There's a lot of people I've seen fail because their space just isn't wired for high humidity and having lower heated areas depending on what they keep. So if you keep stuff and this is conducive to that, great. If you have a really hot room, it's not going to work. If you have a freezing cold room because you like, newts and salamanders or things like that, like it's not going to work. So they do need some heat, but not a lot. And they do need excessive moisture, especially when young. Tubs work really well for these guys because low ventilation means higher moisture retention, essentially. So look at that. Yeah, definitely my favorite boas. So anyway, they are not impossible to keep. I've had plenty of people reach out to me lately, say, I've heard they're impossible to keep, they die, this and that, and they can if you don't know what to pay attention to. So these guys do really well in racks, but they will get a decent size. You saw my adults earlier. That female was much larger than what I would consider an average and accurate representation of adult females. The 2016 female we saw before the babies, that's a little smaller than what I expect a lot of adults to get to, but not too far off. And then the first animal we saw, my adult male, that's pretty good for an adult male. He could even be smaller, you know. So, but they're not a huge boa. They're a wonderful boa if you know what you're doing. So, and there are some morphs out there, but you don't need morphs in these things. You can have a lot of fun just with your own lines and breeding and color palettes, different little things like that. So, all right. Well, anyway, high humidity, medium to high heat, not too crazy. Lots of substrate for them to burrow in, and leave them alone. They're shy. That's my quick bullet point list on how to keep Brazilian rainbow boas. But they can be tamed down. They can make excellent pets. You can give them climbing options. They will do all of that. I'm just telling you how it works for me here in racks, tubs, cages, in my room. So, anyway, if you're on the fence about them, leave a comment below. If you have questions about the species, drop a comment below. If you've always been curious but kind of gun shy, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get this channel growing and going. And rainbow bowing. Alright. Catch y'all later.